friends, it's Jeff. We're celebrating here at Around the Circle. Our Start Here podcast, which helps folks find their type, has been the #1 Enneagram podcast on iTunes all year. This podcast channel just passed 6,000 subscribers and 2 million downloads, and we're closing in on 1,000 free members at aroundthecircle.org. More than this is the 1-year anniversary of our book. Around the Circle is out on Amazon. Kindle version is just $9. Audio version has all kinds of extras, or you can get the uber fancy print version, which has our mistyping guide. But more than this, we're moving to want to connect with you more. Real Enneagram work. We have been very aware recently. Real Enneagram work often requires real conversations. And so as we enter the next season, we're going to focus on creating more online panels and workshops. So this month, we're talking with members about coping style and how each of the types solves problems on Mondays. Our second Saturday workshop will begin hitting a new topic in August when we have 30 or 40 people assemble. And every Tuesday night, we continue to have our reading room, which presently we are wrapping up Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart. It's on emotion and exploring how emotions overlap with the Enneagram. Also next month, and this is new, I'm going to begin speaking exclusively with men about their experience of the Enneagram. We don't often hear from men reflecting on their inner lives in these spaces, but those who do engage the Enneagram often have extraordinary stories to tell. So I'm going to try and get men together, talk shop. So if you want to connect, very easy. Go to aroundthecircle.org. Sign up for a free membership, and you will get all of our announcements, all the links to all of our free stuff. Or if it's time for you and your family to do some serious work, become a $20 member. All the links to our online classes and conversations will open up for you, and we would love to meet you. That's what I got for this month. I'm Jeff. May all good things be yours.
Hey everybody, welcome to Early Access. Before we get into today's show, if you have been listening to the episodes lately, you'll know that at the beginning of July, I released an announcement about a new cohort program in Cincinnati. So Joey, Shuey, and I are going to be partnering together to teach a cohort. Next year, 2027, there are 4 weekends where everyone will gather in Cincinnati. There's going to be a group, and we are going to deep dive into Enneagram together. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, I will link the application in the show notes. There will also be an FAQ there. If you have any questions, you can message me on Instagram. You can send me an email. I would love, love, love to see you there. If you are thinking about it, you should send the application in. You can always say no later. But we would love, love, love to have you. Thank you all for being here. I so appreciate everyone who opens these podcasts. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to Early Access. I'm here with Lindsay and Leah. You all will recognize, I feel like I'm saying this on every episode now. You all will recognize Lindsay's voice. Leah, I feel like I have seen you a million times, but you have not been on Early Access before yet. Not. Right? Okay. So the reason I'm saying that, for people who are listening, the reason I'm saying that is because this is our second time trying to record this podcast, but the 3 of us have chatted before several times.
Correct.
This is our second time recording this, and I wouldn't normally bring this up, but I think it's so funny and interesting, like for Enneagram specifically. So we tried to record this once, and 2 things happened. 3s don't prepare for anything, so I wasn't very well prepared with questions. My improv skills did not work for me. And then 2, Lindsay and Leah emailed me afterwards and were like, we basically were just verbal processing for an hour. Can we redo it so that we can have actual, whatever you said, good stories or whatever? And I said, yes. So we're back. So we're going to try to redo our podcast. So if you hear us mention the last time we were here or the last recording, that's what we're talking about.
We're giving grace to each other's
Enneagram. Hoping I'll remember our verbal processing from weeks ago. So yeah,
exactly.
We'll just see.
Yeah, we'll see. I know I asked, when they joined, I asked, do y'all want me to ask anything specific or whatever, all the things? And they're like, well, we had this great conversation after the last podcast recording, but now we don't remember what it was, which is great because I also, as soon as I hit stop record on a podcast, I don't remember what we talked about either. So this is going to be fun. But to get into it, I'm going to have y'all do introductions. Like I said, Lindsay, I interviewed you for a one-on-one podcast, so people might recognize your voice, but I'm going to have you reintroduce yourself just in case. Who you are, what you do, and what you do with the Enneagram as well.
Right. Lindsay Taylor. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and an Enneagram 1. And as far as what I do with Enneagram, I enjoy being a guest on a podcast occasionally. I have done that for a couple of different podcasts now, but I do use that a lot with therapy for clients. Mostly couples work for me, but individuals also, and it's very helpful in all of those realms. Obviously, I use it a lot in my personal life too, but
sure.
And even how to utilize my strengths and work on growth areas as a therapist as well, and then with friendships and family and all of that, it's helpful too. So,
what's the big broad question? If you had to name like the one thing, because you're a 1, the one thing you had to work on most to be a good therapist because you're an Enneagram 1, what would it be?
I think, and it's something I still have to work on, is I guess you would say kind of like trusting the process and like being okay with taking it slow, because obviously, I mean, therapy is a journey, and that journey is very unique to each person or each couple, and some folks do it quickly, some folks take longer, and I would say even the folks that do it quickly, if they wanted to slow down and do some more, there would be more to do. So I think that's one of the biggest things is just being okay with maybe even finding progress in little ways along the way,
Yeah, that's great. All right, Leah, you're up.
I'm Leah Lucas. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I work with Lindsay at our nonprofit ministry called Hope Springs. And then I also work at another ministry where I work with children and families, foster care, adoption, trauma-related stuff, and I do equine therapy with that program.
Did you say that last time? Did I know?
I don't know. Maybe I did.
I guess you did. Well, see, I forget everything. That's
cool.
It
is. It's a really neat therapeutic modality.
So, okay, so just to be sure that I'm not being stupid, equine therapy,
yeah, horses and donkeys or other.
Okay.
Yes,
and
donkeys too.
So what does that mean? Like you're taking kids out to ride horses and like do therapy?
Well, sometimes that is what equine therapy is, but we use a particular model where we're only groundwork based, so we don't do any riding, although again it is very therapeutic to incorporate riding, but most of our stuff is just very metaphorical. Do different activities with horses. They can teach you about your nervous system and boundaries and communication and all kinds of things. So yeah,
cool. How did you get into that?
Well, Lindsay and I actually were using it at Hope Springs for a while. We got approached by a family friend who had a farm and horses, and I mean they were show horses, but then they ended up just kind of retiring to pasture, and she had always wanted to do that kind of work and needed a mental health professional to partner with, and so she asked us to join her, and so we were with her for a little while, and then things phased out with that at Hope Springs for a variety of reasons, and we aren't doing it right now, but we would like to be. It's also a very costly sort of thing to operate, so sometimes money gets in the way of that too.
I just feel like anything to do with horses is like, okay, it's like again, I'm going to liken it to wedding planning because I'm wedding planning right now. But I feel like every time I open my computer to wedding plan, it's like, okay, that'll be $3,000, right? Or like something like that's how I imagine it is with horses too. Yeah. That's funny. Okay, so tell me how, whoever wants to, tell me how y'all know each other. Who are you to each other?
We're sisters. We're also friends. But yes, sisters. I'm the oldest and Lindsay's the youngest.
So walk us through the story. I do remember this one, but walk us through the story of how y'all started the practice together then, because not all siblings work with each other, obviously. Right. So that's interesting.
You go ahead, Lindsay. You probably succinctly say it more better than I will.
So yeah, I can I guess walk through the second half of the story. I'm sure folks will want to hear the beginning part of our story before I even was born, since Leah was there first. But as far as the second half, I definitely. Sorry, laughing at me.
Yeah, that was funny.
So I definitely knew what I was called to do or wanted to do at a pretty young age as a teenager. And so I kind of full steam ahead pursued becoming a therapist. And during that time, when I went on to get my master's degree, to do that, I was working in a community counseling center for my internship, and knew that I preferred definitely private practice to, like a already existing organization, especially like a community mental health program. But I also appreciated the way that specific center was operating, that they were offering services to those who probably would be able to afford it, either because of no insurance or their copay was high, all different kind of reasons. And so I wanted to be a part of something like that. And at the same time, Leah was kind of wanting to phase out of her work with DHR. I know that's called different things in different places, but basically, the Child Protective Services type of stuff. And she had been doing that for a long time, longer than most people
How old
would.
are y'all at this point in the story?
I'm probably, 25-ish.
Okay.
2019, something like that.
It was
You?
the year 2019.
Oh,
the
yeah,
year
year
2019.
20. I was like,
I was like,
yeah,
I thought
so-
you were older.
Yeah.
so Leah's in
Yeah.
Leah's in her 30s at this
Okay.
point, and she didn't super love the revolving door way that part of government worked with,
Sure.
not really getting to the root of people's issues and helping them with not having just repeat things happen over and over and over. And so she wanted to go into the counseling world and kind of be able to help from that grassroots place. And so we were kind of both, at the same place in our timeline of doing what we needed to do to get our hours that we needed to have a license and that kind of thing. And so at that point we're talking, what's next? And that's when we said, okay, well, maybe we can do this satellite of the place where she was interning, or not really interning, but whatever. Yeah, getting her hours. And they offered us that to be a satellite of their nonprofit. And that's how we started. But then, due to a variety of reasons, it worked out better for us to just kind of go out on our own and start our own nonprofit. So that is that.
Has it mostly been fun or great? Working
Oh,
with your
yes,
sister?
that part.
Oh,
I thought you were about to ask,
yeah,
running a
that part's
nonprofit.
fine.
I was like, oh.
No, I guess that part is
No.
not that great.
Not always, no.
But being with your
Yes.
sister. People
Yeah.
say like never go into
Right?
business with
Yeah.
family or don't discuss money with family or whatever. So not a lot of families could work together like y'all do. So that's impressive.
We have seen that in our family with siblings, parents, and bad things happening with business together. So I mean, we definitely saw how that could go,
Yeah.
but I don't know that either one of us ever considered that
No,
would be a
like
possibility for
you
us
saying
for
that,
it
I was
to
like,
go.
I never thought about that.
I never
No,
thought
Worst
of
case
never
scenario,
thought about
6
that,
over
yeah.
there never thought that. So
Yeah.
What is it about y'all that you think that never occurred to you? Or your relationship?
Well, it's
I guess?
interesting.
I mean, I know.
Well, I was just gonna say we haven't always been close, right? Like we were so far apart in
Yeah, right.
age that, it was just such a huge gap that she was just a pester, unfortunately to me as the older sister, right? Like, and here she is just trying to be, connected to me, involved in the things I'm doing, and I'm like,
Right.
you're annoying me. So
Yeah.
I was also judgy, so that's annoying.
I don't know if I
yeah.
knew that.
Yeah.
Found out about that later, maybe, but yeah, I would say, I don't know that I can pinpoint when things actually started to like shift and we started to talk more. I mean, I know it was after my divorce from my first husband, but I don't remember how that happened. Yeah.
What
yeah.
happened? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, neither of us are great at that whole past referencing thing. I will say that I know for me why I probably didn't ever consider the possibility of us becoming estranged through doing this is I don't easily think about that anyway. Like if I'm going into the future, it's usually good vibes, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's high 7 or maybe low 7, but I just don't easily think about, here's how this could go really badly,
Sure.
unless it's like some kind of morality issue or I don't know. So it just never crossed my mind that like, hey, we're close now. Maybe we won't be.
And again,
at
something
some
must have
point.
shifted for me to where you became somebody I trusted, somebody that was kind of like, a partner rather than a pester. So, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what that was or when.
Yeah. So, okay, so let me open it up. We kind of talked about it in, the last 3 minutes a little bit, but I kind of like to start these podcasts with the easy stuff, the positive stuff. So tell me about, Lindsay, you're a 1, Leah, you're a 6. Tell me about what's easy for a 1 and a 6 to work together.
I think what makes it easy is there's a shared respect and trust. I don't know if most of that's us both being kind of that compliant, responsive stance. We both have really high social instinct, so I think we align on a lot of things in that regard. We don't really like get in each other's lanes. Yeah, we just trust that the other person's gonna do the responsible thing. And
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think we can trust because we are both very conscientious people. If we say we're going to do something, we're going to feel really bad if we don't do that.
Sure. Yeah.
And people, we don't require people to micromanage us or stay on us to do that. So that's why we're able to stay out of each other's lanes because we're very similar in that way.
I think that's what my question was going to be, because I think most people would say, oh, I want to respect and trust my business partner, right? Like no matter what Enneagram number you are. So my question was going to be, well, what does that mean? What causes you to respect somebody? Like what is your version of respect and trust?
The ability to
built
take
off
accountability
of?
and responsibility, and like, if you mess something up, you're gonna be like, yeah, I screwed that up. I'll try to do different next time. Or it's just that there's the reliability that if they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And that if we don't, we're going to own that and be a part of the solution. And I think what makes us trust each other a lot too, and maybe this was even a part of how we became close again, is, and maybe this has to do somewhat with the whole responsive stance also. There's a lot of proximity, whether it's in communication or whether it's like physical proximity that Leah went a long time not having a lot of proximity with our family because of kind of the estrangement with her first husband. And I think slowly, like she started becoming just back around again. And with that being around, there's a lot of communication between us. And I think we don't go a day without communicating. I mean, whether it's, and I mean, probably to some people's like frustration levels, we don't do anything. We don't do anything business wise without talking to each other about it. Like, what do you think? Well, what do you think? And so there's a lot of trust that comes with that too, because neither one of us are just doing something not knowing how the other person's going to think or feel about that.
Right. I interviewed so it was a husband and a wife, and they were a 2 and a 6. So not a 1, but same responsive stance. I don't know if their episode will be out by the time this comes out, but they kind of were talking about this similar thing. I wish I could remember the word they were using. It was almost like we depend on each other and like we lean on each other, and other people, like I was asking them a bunch of questions because like in my partnerships, I don't want anybody to lean on me, and I don't want to lean on anybody. And that's what makes me respect and trust you, right? You can stand on all the things. So I was asking them a lot of questions about that because I was like, that's whatever, trying to understand all the things. And I'm hearing that a little bit here too. I guess, I don't really know if I have a question about that, if you have anything to say about that. But I was like, I think some people could hear that and hear like codependency, right? Or whatever. Like, oh, you can't make a decision without anybody else. But I don't think that's what it feels
not
like,
at all.
right? At all. No, not at all.
Well, and especially because there are some lanes that we don't question or maybe talk about like in depth. Like for example, as much as I'm a 1, and I know people talk about 1s being detail oriented and that kind of thing, I am horrible with like finances and numbers in general. Like just hey, this thing is going to be due here, and like I'm horrible at that.
All of it,
Yeah, horrible. but she can't not do that. Like, it's in her head all the time, and it's just like natural and instinctive. So like, I don't question any of that stuff for her, and she doesn't have to communicate a lot of that to me, right? So there are some areas like that I don't think we communicate about, but like big decisions are like vision, like ethical things. I don't know. There's just some stuff that we don't just do, probably, that maybe is going to impact the organization as a whole, or like impact the other person.
Or if there's
some
something
way.
that I've just unilaterally decided, I can't do that anyway because it's a nonprofit, right? So we have a board, right? Like, so there's that element.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
That's a good point.
There's maybe small unilateral decisions that I might make because I wound up with title of executive director, even though that's not where I want to be.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
On top of, I mean, but we do. We juggle all sorts of stuff because it's just the two of us. So we wear all the hats, as they say. But yeah, there might be things I unilaterally decide to do, smaller things, but I'm going to tell her and or the board about it, right? Like, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum with me being the only one involved. Yeah.
Sure. Do you think you both agree pretty easily on what's important as well? Or do you see kind of some, and what I mean by that is like, what's important to run a business? What is our goal here? What do we want to prioritize over other things? Do you align on that mostly, or are there some things where you see you're kind of different in that way?
I think mostly. I know one thing recently, I think maybe we mentioned this last time, but one thing recently that we kind of were a little bit different on, and I had to kind of get over myself about, was, and maybe this is her line to three that helps with this, and my not access to any of that. I know that the Joey Shuey framework of one's not having an others reference, like I don't have that deferring to others piece of like 269, and then I don't have three access either. So when it comes to things like marketing, getting funding, I don't know, things like that might require you to say this and leave this out, or, like, I don't easily do the whole with my idealism. Like, I want to tell people the whole ideal and bring them into that, right?
Yeah.
Versus just maybe the practical, well, they're not going to do that, so let's just tell them this.
Feels manipulative or something.
So, okay, so I have a question about that, and then Leah, I'll ask your side of it as well. So talk to me about idealism. I've been really interested in this lately because I've been talking to a lot of people who talk about it. So for anyone who doesn't know, 1s, 7s, and 4s are known as the idealist, and that shows up in very different ways in all of them. But yeah, talk to me. Does it feel manipulative, like Leah said, or does it just feel wrong? Or like, why is that so hard for you, do you think?
I think that I don't trust feelings for myself. I definitely don't trust other people's feelings. That those are going to be very unpredictable, not sustainable, not consistent. And so if I don't get people completely around the whole ideal, like that they are bought in a way that like, this makes sense and this is something I am behind, then I feel like they might be flaky. That, I got their heartstrings about this little thing, but like, they're not on board with this whole thing. So they're not,
like it's some sort of false pretense or something, like.
Yeah. Like it's just kind of scratching an itch, and it's not gonna take them the whole way.
So are you, okay, change the wording I'm about to use if it's not right. Are you afraid people are gonna leave or abandon the project? And I also want to, it's not abandon you, it's like abandon the project,
right?
If they don't know every single detail about the project, like there's nothing that can catch them off guard later, or.
Yeah, I think that there is I wouldn't typically label it as a fear, but there is a thought that, okay, let's say I bring them in with this little like breadcrumb and they're not buying into the whole loaf, that then once we start to get into this whole loaf, that they're going to be like, well, I don't really agree with that or that, and now I've got all these people supposedly supporting, but they're not really on board for the full thing. They were there for this little tiny piece, and now are they going to try to screw this whole thing up with taking in all these different directions that it's not where I think it needs to go.
Well, okay, so that last part kind of answered it. Connect that to oneness for me.
Yeah,
because I'm not.
It's my value system, right? It's my set of principles and what I think is right.
So if I'm a 1, I understand where this needs to go, right? That's what 1. I understand what this needs to look like. I have the values that I want this thing to be, right? Whatever that I want to apply. I need to tell everybody everything. I need to give everybody the whole loaf. Love that metaphor, by the way. Because if someone comes in with just a crumb, doesn't understand what's going on, they might want to do it differently than how I want to do it.
And they might take my loaf from this beautiful sourdough to some moldy, crusty
to some
crap.
shit white bread stuff.
Yeah.
That is, I've never heard a 1 walk me all the way through that before.
It took bread to get there.
They're going to contaminate it.
Yeah. Yes, it's contaminated. It's moldy. That's fascinating. So, okay. So Leah, here's my question for you, because we actually talk a lot. People generally talk a lot about 6s also wanting everyone to know
all the
whole
information,
truth, right? And all the information. So tell me how you are different enough from Leah that does not bother. Maybe I don't know, that is not a factor here.
I mean, if we're keeping with the bread Lindsay, metaphor, like I was just thinking when you were talking about that, like crumb.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
Loaf. And I'm like, if we can just give them a slice, right? Like you get a little taste of what the whole thing kind of looks like or tastes like, and then maybe you're bought in, right? So I'm not just giving you a crumb, I want you to know what all it encompasses and get on board with us, right? If you understand what we're doing and why by sampling, maybe it's a good metaphor. Then yeah, maybe you'll decide you want to be a part of the whole loaf making.
Yeah, right.
And that's why I say I have to get over myself to a degree, and I did for this the specific thing I think we were talking about here was an interview that we needed to do to a promotional fundraising interview. And I did. I was able to, kind of get on board with that framework of, okay, this is what we're doing and why. And we put some very specific boundaries around it. Like, Leah, I don't know if you remember, but you were like, you talk about this part because this
can be
is
authentic
kind of
in that, right?
Yeah. You talk
like
about
this
all
is,
of it.
Yep.
This thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how we did that.
Lindsay, what did that feel? Did you feel like you had to for a 1 who's listening to this and is like, how do I get there? Right. Did you did you feel like you had to abandon a part of yourself to get to the part where you were like, okay, I just have to learn to be okay with this? Or what? Okay, let me re-ask that question. A lot of times when we begin to do the work, it just feels bad before we learn on the other side that it's actually okay. So I'm wondering, for a 1, that initial movement into teaching yourself to be okay with this, you just have to feel like you are not doing it correctly. And then later you will be able to learn you didn't need to do it that way in the first place. Is that what it felt like, or no? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think as I was verbally processing, I verbally processed with a couple of 8s. My husband's an 8, and then one of my friends is an 8. Because I feel like they get the passionate doing,
sure.
like they get and something being done the right way, whatever. But they're also very practical compared to me. So I did do that, and honestly, I can't remember exactly what either of them said, but I think I just got kind of over myself of you know what, this is just a stepping stone. Okay, this is not going to derail your whole vision. Right? This can still happen this way. It's just, we're not jumping from here to your big vision.
Sure.
We're getting to it like this. So, which is also that doesn't feel great either. I would rather jump straight to the big vision.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, same. Leah, talk about that, the jumping to the vision. I guess, wonder, imagine that sometimes that would butt up against the sixness needing the details and stuff like that. I don't know. Does it? Am I imagining that?
Yes. I mean, I think she often asks the question, okay, like, what are we
how
doing?
is
Like,
that going to happen?
what is that going to look like getting there?
How is
How?
that going to happen? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she asks that question a lot.
What are we doing? How
are we going to do that?
And I think that's why sixes can sometimes confuse themselves as doers, because we do feel like we're task oriented, right?
Oh, talk more about that. Because I agree. Sixes think of themselves as big doers, and you are big. Like I would say, you are big doers, right? But being next to a doer, a one. Talk about the difference you see.
I'm more calculated in my doing, right? Like I'm going to be a little more trepidatious in my doing. I'm going to need to that other reference point that Joey talks about, right? Like I gotta gather all the stuff from outside of myself before I can feel confident in getting there, you know?
Yeah. I think the big difference is that sixes twos also struggle with this, but like, I think sixes don't recognize that something is happening before they're doing, right? We all, like you said, you are gathering information or you are checking in with people or something like that. I don't know if that's how you would say that, but a lot of people do all the time. The question is, are you doing something else before?
Right. Yeah. It's not the first step. Yeah. There's a lot of thinking and processing and questioning and, you know, a lot of stuff happening before that action is taken. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again is sometimes like, it's not my strength, right? That I'm like, let's just go do this. And it's like, well, she's like, well, you know, we have to have this business license or we have to have this or that. And I'm like,
now. Yeah. I always say, so Lindsay, you and I are going to be the same here. We're, again, according to Joey Shuey's framework, we are both doing processors, 831. And what I say is that a good day for us at the end of the day, no matter what happens, if we are further along than we were this morning in the task or whatever we wanted to do, if something physically tangible has changed because of what we did today, that's good, right? We did something.
For sure.
Which I agree with you can make us sometimes sacrifice something else just so we can say we got something done today.
Yeah.
So Leah, there's a question for you. You are the not doing processor here. As a non-doing processor in your work with 1, 3s, or 8s, what does it feel? This is sort of similar to the last question I asked, but like, what does it feel like we're missing? Like, what is the most frustrating thing coming from the outside, trying to work with somebody like that?
I don't know, because I look to Lindsay a lot to like be like, okay, go, you know, go ahead, do that.
Yeah. So maybe it
can be. I don't necessarily find myself getting frustrated when, you know, she's not slowing down to think about a business license, for example, or anything.
Would you say that you feel alone sometimes though, because of that? Like that it's...
I'm thinking about work related stuff and I don't have a 3 or an 8. So I was trying to think about it from somebody other than you that I might not have as like a close trusting relationship with maybe.
Sure.
And I can't think of anybody. So that's some of what I was trying to process, because maybe it's not entirely, maybe it would play out differently if it were, you know, somebody that I wasn't as close to.
Well, can I ask you a different question then? Why don't you get frustrated? Because I feel like I would get frustrated.
I think the part that frustrates me is what Lindsay mentioned, but it's not necessarily well, I can't necessarily say that. Sometimes I do get frustrated when I feel like Lindsay said, I'm alone and like there's nobody in the trenches with me, you know, like trying to make things happen or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, ask me
when there's not that shared like concern over all the things you're thinking about.
Just, you know, you have a meeting or whatever and then nothing happens in the interim and then here we are having another meeting, you know, again about the same stuff.
Yeah. What I see 6 is being concerned about, that I wish I was more concerned about, is it's not just what are we doing, it's like what is what we're doing, how is what we're doing gonna land, right, with people, And 3s can think about that too, but it's like, how is this going to make people think about me, right? 6s are genuinely concerned with like, is this going to do something for the group, right? Is this going to help? So there's like that factor to it as well. And I just feel like I want to be doing stuff all day. And like, that's it.
There's no goal in mind for you necessarily.
I mean, I would say there is, but the goal is
get
to do the
done,
thing.
Yeah.
The goal isn't to help the group. The goal is to
well,
do
when
the
y'all
thing.
were, no, I was just say when y'all were talking a minute ago about, just wanting to check something off a list at the end of the day. If it's accomplished, it's accomplished. I have a similar, thought process or whatever, but I'm also trying to check things off to not be overwhelmed, for those tasks to not spill over in the next day. And then, here I am with more stuff to do and, not enough time to do it. So yeah, if there's frustration, sometimes it's that overwhelm of, all the things that do need to be done that fall on my plate.
Yeah. That is definitely a difference for us in there. I'm sure she does close to the amount of things that I do.
Absolutely.
Like I'm sure her doing is fairly matched, but she's overwhelmed by it. I'm not. It's just another day to me.
Talk to me about, that was a good example of something that is the difference between y'all. Talk to me about what else you would say is real different between y'all. We talked about how you're similar and what you get along with.
I think we talked about this last time, was the kind of like the certitude or the self-confidence is one thing that's different. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, talk about that. That's good.
Yeah, like I just questioned myself. You asked her earlier, like, what's the one thing she has to work on as a therapist? That, like, that's mine, is trusting myself. I can have people tell me, that I ask good questions and I have good insight and, you phrase that really well or whatever. And it's still, I can sit there in the chair across from somebody some days and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And Lindsay, what's your side of that?
Yeah, I think that even though there is this like weird tension between responsive stance, like obviously I'm very dependent upon like what somebody else is going to say or do that I'm then going to say or do back to that, right? So there is that, but it doesn't have an insecurity to it. I guess because there's always this like inner, this is what needs to be done, or this is what is right. This is this principle. This is whatever, that like I am certain and sure of that.
So you are not questioning what needs to be done. You are not questioning what's going on. You are questioning, how does this need to come out of me? Like, how do I need to say it? How does it need to, like, that is the part that sometimes is like the reactive, but it's not, I don't know what needs to happen here.
No, it's how are they gonna get on board with that too?
Yeah.
Are they gonna join me in that this is right? And so, what's their response to how I say this gonna be?
And I imagine the other part of the reactive stance is that you feel a certain responsibility to make sure it comes out okay.
Yep.
Whereas I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, no, I definitely
hear it, right? Which is not true. But that's your problem, right? That's And then, okay, Leah, you kind of already said already, but can I say again, now that Lindsay said that, what the difference in you is? Like, are you saying, I don't know if I really understand what's going on in this person in front of me?
Yes, that. And so that sometimes is why I ask questions, right? Like, sometimes it's to prompt, some thinking or insight, but sometimes it's because I need to ask them if what I'm thinking is accurate, right? Whereas Lindsay just sometimes has this innate knowing, like, this is what's going on for them, and I'm just gonna say it. Whereas mine's gonna come out as a question potentially, or in the midst of it, and I'm like, could I have asked something different? Could I have offered something different? Just like that internal self-doubt. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Mine is definitely, I see exactly what's going on here. Do I say it now? Do I say it later? Do I say it like this? Do I say it like that? And then, especially if they respond negatively, I'm like, oh, maybe that was the wrong time. Or maybe I should have said it like this.
Yeah. Do you think
No, I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say that I can see what's happening, like, because we both do a lot of work with couples and systems and family systems, that kind of stuff. So I can like think to myself, oh, this is probably what's going on, but then immediately there's that like, well, but maybe you're wrong, you know. Yeah.
I relate a lot. So, Leah, you and I are connected by a line. And again, in Joey Shuey's framework, I think like a 6, right? Like we all kind of do like a 3, think like a 6, and no, do like a 9, feel like a 3, think like a 6, whatever. The more work I do with 6s, the more I'm like, oh, I think like that, right? So I feel the same way. And I get the same. People are like, you're so good at asking questions. I'm like, it's because I don't know what's
because
going
I really am curious, like for real.
It's because I'm curious. Yeah, like I don't know why you said that. Like, why did you say that, right?
Yeah. So there's just an authentic, definitely an authentic curiosity. But sometimes it's there, it's oftentimes it's fueled by some self-doubt. But then other times when I'm in a a healthier space, it's like maybe it's more of a challenging question, to prompt some sort of thought process or whatever. More than it is like, I really don't know, so I need you to tell me.
Yeah. Lindsay, do you think that's the instinct of that 891 body triad when you are like, I know what's going on here? Is that what people are talking about?
Yeah, because
about, like,
I've had moments like
stuff?
that. You probably have too, with the access to 9. That
sure, yeah,
it's just didn't require any thought, or it's just there, and that was the right thing.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, Leah, I'll be interested to see if you relate to this, is the more Enneagram work I do, the more I can recognize when those moments happen to me, be like, hey, you are having a gut instinct right now. I think those have happened to me my whole life, but I don't listen. Like, they're not loud enough for me to, I get this like, well, what if I'm wrong? It's like the questioning, right? Like my body knows, but we are not built to trust that before the thought of, well, what if you're wrong?
Yeah.
Right. What if there's something else?
Yeah. So much awareness after learning Enneagram around all sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Craziness. Lindsay, what do you feel like when you hear people talking about that, being like, oh, I think I have those, but I don't trust myself?
Oh, I mean, my first thought is, gosh, that's a rough way to live.
Yeah. Talk to me about, so I asked that question, talk to me about, like, what would you have to give up to not trust yourself like that? Does that question make sense?
I mean, I feel like a sense of like
Autonomy.
yeah.
Autonomy,
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, like this kind of inner steadiness that like can't be easily manipulated and can't be like easily pushed or pulled, or don't want to give that up. That's
I think that's fascinating. This is like, we're back to the basics, but it's so, I think it's really, really hard to understand the real meaning of like the Enneagram basics. Like, what does it mean to live with shame, right? What does it mean to live with a need for autonomy? What does that mean, right? What does that give you? I think this is very interesting. Leah, what do you think? Okay, this might be a crazy question. What do you think we gain, if anything, from giving up our autonomy, from not being personalities based with this tether to ourselves?
I mean, I think as with anything in our like dominant center, so to speak, it can get overdone. So in that space, I think if you give it up, if you loosen the grip on it, you get a little taste of, I don't know, maybe would you get a little taste of your holy idea if we like flesh that out? If you let go of it a little bit, can I find, that faith and no, is it faith or courage? The holy idea for 6.
Are we talking for 1 or for 6?
It's faith, right? The holy idea is faith, right? Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I freaking got it.
So like for a 1,
virtue
is like faith or courage. I think it depends on who you ask, because some people are like, faith, that's religious.
Okay, yeah.
So they use courage.
But yeah, like for a 1 to give up a little autonomy, you probably are going to get some serenity.
How so?
Well, because I mean, at least in theory, to me, and I'm sure I've had moments of this where true serenity means that stuff isn't this like steady, like predictable, like not easily messed with and shaken. Like serenity says, a good portion of life is that, and it's accepting it that gives you serenity.
Sure.
I would say that I wonder too about like a relational component that the other types might more easily have access to.
Ooh, okay. Say more words about that.
Well, autonomy is going to butt up against relational stuff a bit, just in essence, right? And relationship in and of itself just intrinsically requires, that like interdependence, and it does kind of push the envelope on autonomy a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I just wonder about, I was especially thinking about like me in comparison to Leah, that she is probably way more comfortable in relationship than I am.
Leah, would you say that is true? What would you say about that?
Yeah, I could see that.
What do you mean by comfortable in relationship, Lindsay?
Well, and maybe she would say almost to the other degree that she's very uncomfortable without relationship, whereas like I'm like, yeah, might be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost have relationship more that is like, my relationships are to partner in doing a lot. My relationships are to go toward an ideal together, or, whatever. But I would say she has relationship for relationship's sake.
Yeah, because some of your relationships are even for the sake of improving yourself, right? Like that's not the only purpose they serve, but it is a part of the relational component. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you agree, Leah, that you are uncomfortable without relationship?
Why? That whole
Talk
alone thing, like that doesn't bode well for my social instinct, my type, my stance. None of the things.
Talk to me about why it butts up against 6.
Well, if you're without
with you,
support, if you're without resource, if you're without partner, all the.
Because then it comes back to just you, which you've already said is like, well, I don't really know.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, right. Yeah. And people are the
they
resource.
Can be.
I am without resource, and people can be the resource. Okay.
The relationship, yeah.
Or they can have it. True. Like, even if they themselves in a relationship with them aren't the resource, they might have an answer. They might have the information. They might have. That's the whole 6 going into that relational space, not with the same relational focus that 2s and 4s have, right? But they're still going in there. They're just coming at it maybe differently.
There's information to be found over there in all the people.
Yep.
That's fascinating. I really like this idea of comfortable with relationship versus uncomfortable without relationship. I'd be interested to like go around the circle and see if that applies to other places, but I'd have to process that as well. I'd have to sit with it for a little bit.
Yeah. Like for me, I think a lot of my growth is found relationally, like learning how to not be so black and white, stuff like that. Whereas probably for Leah, a lot of growth is found in solitude.
Yeah. So Leah, talk to me about what growth do you find in solitude?
It's a space where the productive thinking can come up, right? Like, because it's not muddied up by all the external stuff, so I think that's a component. And using those past anchor points as reminders. I don't think that comes up easily unless you're not tethered to something else. Yeah, that's kind of what comes to mind.
Yeah. All right, before I kind of ask my end of podcast questions, Is there anything else that y'all were thinking while y'all were preparing for this podcast? Is there anything else about either you get along that makes you get along really well, or something you have to work on in a relationship? Is there anything that we have not touched yet?
I think we may have touched on this last time, that I have to work on, or like I have to be intentional about, is when Leah brings up an anxiety, and it can be within business, or it can be about our family, like our parents, or it can be, I don't know, just about her own life or whatever. My tendency is to not have anxiety, so I'm like, I can very easily be dismissive, I'm sure, but trying to be intentional about reminding myself that actually sometimes the things she has anxiety about are valid, right? And things that I didn't think about, and that it works out well that she thought about them, that I benefit from that sometimes. And then secondly, that like reminding her, not just dismissing it as like, well, we don't have to worry about that, but instead reminding her of how like I trust her to deal with that.
Sure. Leah, what's your side of that?
I think, well, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it's like I feel fortunate, I guess, in the sense that, for someone's criticism is loud and, something they pick up on immediately, in conversation. So like, I guess I'm fortunate enough that even when I do challenge her on something, whether it's her own like personal growth or whether it's something related to the business, that there's not like, she doesn't receive that in a critical way. Otherwise, I would say in relationship with one, like that's really important that you have an awareness of how criticism can land on them.
Well, I would say that maybe she naturally, I don't know if this is across the board for sixes, maybe it's the social instinct, dominant sixes have an easier time, and I don't think this just even applies to me. I think the way that she challenges anybody is very non-threatening. It's very either some way she relates, or just even the way she presents it is, maybe some of this is from self-doubt, that it's not this, I know this is what's going on and like you need to work on it. It might be more of a like, I don't know, I kind of wonder about this, or have you thought about this? It's very just sensitive and like treading lightly.
Yeah.
Naturally, I think. I don't even know that she has to be intentional about it.
Sure. Well, that's good. Okay, so that didn't know it. That's a phenomenal ramp onto my wrap-up question for you. So I think this is different from the one I asked last time, but hopefully it's easier to answer. The question for you is, what do you think is the most valuable thing about your sister? And what I mean by that is, Lindsay, because you're a 1, what is most valuable about Leah? 1 being your sister and also being a 6. You know what I mean? Leah, because you are a 6, what do you value most in Lindsay? In who Lindsay is, and also in her oneness. I imagine they're going to kind of be combined, right?
I think it's her access to thinking, even though she's, thinking repressed, that she is able to give me perspective that I don't always have. And I do value it because it takes me out of that extreme idealism to a little bit more of a like practical,
Well, we say we're
area.
realists. not pessimists, but realists.
Pragmatism. Pragmatism, is that how you say that word? Yeah.
And I'm sure it's probably added years onto my life to like reduce my stress level and anger.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think that's a very good point, that 6s are thinking repressed, but they do start there. And so they have access to some of the tools, at least, the beginning tools, at least, of thinking, for sure.
And then, like I said, the way that she presents it to me is not, I got a 5 kiddo, so I know how that thinking can be presented, and it can be kind of,
Here you go.
well, yeah, just very, very like almost, are you stupid or something?
Yeah,
Like,
literally. Yeah.
and then but I do have a lot of 7 friends that I appreciate their approach to thinking as well. But theirs can have way more of the positive spin, which I also need sometimes. But Leah lands kind of in that middle space where
Oh, that's a
there's
great point.
acknowledgement of my like frustration, and yet an offer of a perfect.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. All right, Leah, your turn.
I think it's whether it's our friendship or whether it's the business relationship, all the things I said in the beginning that I value about her, that I feel like makes us work well together. Her reliability, and like I trust that she has, even if it's not ideal, that she has like the best, the good in mind, and that like I feel like I know her heart, and therefore I trust whatever comes out of that. So
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you both for being here. I think this was much better
we're gonna keep this one.
than last time. We're going to keep this one. This is great. Tell people if, somebody lives near you and they're like, oh, I want to look them up. Tell them how people can find you.
HopeSpringsCounseling.net.
Well, lovely. Thank you both.
Thank you.
This was great.
Thank you.